we should maybe we should not record because people are not interested in joining. But then there are people who are really missing because of placement. That's why I don't want to trouble them. Okay. So let me just show you the evaluation pattern once. Okay. And there is another thing. Actually, the next few classes, ma'am would be taking, Dina ma'am would be taking. So I think Vikas or the class representatives can just make a note. So 6th, that is coming Friday, and the next Friday, that is 13th. Okay, you will have the class at 1:45. So what do you have at 1:45?
I mean, Friday, actually, we don't have anything, ma'am, but project, minor project is going on.
Oh, maybe she, I think she would have discussed with your faculty advisor or something. So that
Then,
you can do it in that our actual hour. Friday, usually what is our hour? I think second hour, no?
ma'am, I think it's not
Yeah,
a
just,
problem, but
yeah, just next 2 weeks because ma'am has another class which will clash. I also have something else, so I also may not be able to take the class. So ma'am has planned it on just on 6th and 13th of August. Sorry, no, correct, no? Yeah.
Yeah,
August, it
yeah.
will be
This
at 1:40.
Friday and
Ma'am,
next Friday.
oh,
Yes,
you're
Priyanka.
there, ma'am. I thought you're having a class. That's why I announced.
No, no, no. No, today I'm there. I'm available.
Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
this
So
Friday and next Friday I have classes for PG. So I'll not be able to take the regular time class. So I am conducting classes this Friday and next Friday at 1:45. Okay. I think, yeah, Priyanka, you can go ahead, please.
yeah, okay, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. So let us just see the evaluation pattern also, because otherwise we might forget to discuss it. So are you able to see my screen, students?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So one thing is for the theory, so it's the usual pattern. You have end semester, which has your exam as 50, Viva as 30, and then it is converted to 2030. And you have a midterm exam, you have an end semester exam, okay, which will contribute to 30 marks for the midsem and 50 marks for the end sem, okay. And you have two quizzes. I'm talking about theory, and two quizzes which will be having the weightage like 10 marks, 10 weightage. Okay, so everything is having a lot of weightage. So you have only two quiz, and that will be exactly there. There is no conversion. Okay, so prepare well. One quiz would be before midterm, and one quiz will be after the midterm also. Okay, so the dates we will announce, and then you have midterm exam, which is having a weightage of 30, and then there is an external end sem exam, which is 50 weightage. Okay, so I think theory you won't have any confusion. This is the usual pattern, 50-50. In lab, this is how we have asked to follow. Okay, so the pure project did not work out. So 80-20 is the weightage, that is 80 internals, out of which, if you can see, just yeah. So we have lab conduction. Okay. Let us see the other part. So Viva, there would be two Viva. Okay. So for that, you would have 20 marks. Okay. Viva is based on what you do on the lab. Okay. Then you have report. Okay. So we would be checking 4 or 5 times and then convert it to 20. Okay. So we are not mentioning, or we may not mention which assignment we are going to take, or we might even take like all the reports and then take an convert it to 20. Okay. So the weightage is 20, but so report is also having a lot of marks. Then you have mid project evaluation, the same project what you're doing, but as a team you can present, like last day we were saying. And it has a 10 weightage for mid evaluation. And for NSEM, the final project evaluation, like There, it is like a team effort. You have to summarize everything what you have done for that particular data set and present the significant things. Okay, like not code and all, just the results interpretation for each different things what you have tried and what you couldn't try and why so, etc. So that kind of an analysis, we will tell the time, like what are the components, etc. But that is for 20 marks. Okay, so this mid-project evaluation 10 marks. Okay, that will be based on your presentation and content, plus 10 marks Viva. We might have it here itself. That I'll tell when we have the evaluation. But otherwise, understand that we have 20 marks for Viva, we have 20 marks for report, we have one mid-evaluation which has 10 marks, which has final evaluation which has 20 marks. Okay, so all these are based on and your lab conduction. Okay, so ma'am was suggesting to see your code, isn't it? So that part we will give 10 marks. So randomly some days we will ask you to share your codes, share in the sense share your screen and explain your codes. So that would be your lab conduction. So how much you have done, how many programs you have done, and how well you have done, etc. So that is your lab conduction. So all this contributes to your marks. And then finally, your only thing is midterm exam would be a lab test. Okay, there we will be giving a small sample data set. And you should be aware of the basic things like, say, splitting into training and testing. Then say some kind of pre-processing, like say missing with so replace with mean or something like that. So we will say you what is expected specifically. So and some classifiers if it is so, or say regression model. So whatever you have tried till then, we will specifically tell you which are the concepts you should be surely knowing. So based on that, you will have a test for 20 marks. So is it clear? You have any doubt in this? Is it fine, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So just tell it to your friends also. Anyway, it is recorded, so they can also come back and just view it. Okay, so this is how your evaluation would be, and this is why I was telling you. See, the report has 20 marks. So if you submit as a group, that 20 and the lab conduction where your code would be seen. So all these together would be like 30 marks. So if it is a group, then you don't have much, like you may not put, like everybody may not put some effort. So we want it separately. Okay, only thing is your presentation when you do, you can do it as a group. So though you are executing separately, you all should be in one pace. Okay, in the sense you all should be knowing what your data is, what you're trying, why it is working, why it is not working. So that kind of a rough idea should be discussed among yourselves. Each minute interpretation what you make can be your own when you submit for your assignment. That contributes for your report. And the program part will be your lab conduction. And finally, when we evaluate for the project, as such, it's like a group. Okay, so there your data set description, other documents, plus your presentation would be contributed. Okay, so I think it is clear. Is it fine? It makes sense. It's more better, no? Like we don't have multiple short tests, and then like based on Python, we are not keeping any like short test or Viva, etc. Viva is purely based on what you are doing with your data set. Okay. So mostly it would be your oral Viva only, because there is no sense in having a common Viva, because you are doing depending on your data set. So something on based on what you have already done, accordingly we would conduct the Viva. So we will specifically in detail tell you how you would have it, etc. But understand that these are the components. Okay, so let us move on to the class. So actually, hope you remember what is linear regression, etc. So we were trying to, yeah, somebody wanted to say something?
Priyanka,
Ma'am.
just for 2 minutes. Here in the timetable, this is regarding on Friday's timetable. They have P1 in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if they can prepone the P1 that is from 12:35 to 2:35. I can take class at 2:45 as well. I will not touch the P1 schedule. I can prepone the P1 schedule just 1 hour before.
I think it is not in their hands. I think you may have to discuss with their faculty advisor, ma'am. Only if they have planned something like a presentation, it might be
Okay.
an issue. Otherwise, it would be just their discussion with their faculty.
Advisor means faculty.
Shriba ma'am, Shriba
mentor?
ma'am and Ulla
Shriba.
sir. Yeah,
Shriba.
yeah, class.
Okay.
Shriba ma'am and Ulla sir.
Okay, then I
You
will
can just
speak.
put a word to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
only if they have planned some meeting or some discussion or some presentation,
Mhm.
then we may have to like postpone or whatever. Otherwise, it is fine. You guys have first presentation, the title presentation, no? But there is no specific time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Not yet
Anytime between
announced, ma'am.
6th and 11th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is
Okay,
not
fine.
like during this hour, I guess.
Okay. Okay, fine.
They
I will
have to
discuss
fix
with them.
when. Yeah, they have to, I think, fix it based on the availability of the panel and guide, etc. So it may not be the same time for everyone. So I think
Okay.
it's still fine. We can have it. Once you can just put a word to Shriba and Ullah sir. So
Okay. Okay,
if they
fine.
are informed, I think we can have the class. Okay.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
Okay. Students, we were talking about in the previous class regarding regression where we have continuous value to be predicted, and we talked about how to fit a line, and then we discussed about the theta or the W, where we have W naught plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2 etc. for the multiple variable, okay, multivariable linear regression. And then how to choose these weights or theta or W, whatever we call it. Okay, so we discussed about the cost function. How so? Before that, we had a doubt why this sum of squared errors or the cost function. Why are we saying 1 by 2 n? N is actually just the average. Okay, so just the average of sum of squares. But then why 2? That was the main question. So I just went and read and then discussed with multiple people. So it is not specific that it is actually not like it has been derived. That is why we don't feel like accepting that too. Okay. Actually, if you try to derive this cost function, if there is a 2, uh, if there is a 2, it gets cancelled, isn't it? 2 into something it would come when you derive this. So since the term is something, some term, the whole squared, when you derive it would become 2 into some derivative of that term, something like that. So this 2 gets cancelled. That is the only intention what we have as 2. Okay, so this is what I can understand from my knowledge. If at all I get something new from by choosing, but I don't think there is any other reason. Just simplicity of mathematical calculation, they have done that. So when you derive it, that will get cancelled. That's the only intention. Specific, and also they are saying that when you are trying to minimize this function, okay, so just this function minimizing is similar to minimizing the half of it. So that doesn't make any difference. So you're minimizing the entire function, or we are taking half, the minimizing the half of it is also fine. So like it doesn't disturb it. So that is also the reason. So main intention is when you derive it, this 2 is getting cancelled so that we don't have any term. It will just like a normal term. So just for that, they have taken this. So any other reason, I don't think, because I searched in most of the places, this is the explanation, some valid point what they have given. Okay. So is that okay, Vishnu?
Yes, ma'am.
So since
Ma'am,
it is
actually,
not derived, that is why we are also not able to that is the reason why you are also not able to accept. It is not derived from something.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were saying something. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. But we didn't use this 1 by n like in the problem, ma'am. Like this 1 by n also is
Oh,
not.
you are talking our problem, what we did here.
Not this one, ma'am. The homework question that was given, like.
Oh, okay. So when we did in the class, there also we didn't use.
We didn't use 1 by n, ma'am. Like 2 is anyway cancelled because of the derivative. But 1 by
Okay.
n, we never did 1
Was
by n.
not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, but you are getting the same values. So then even they have skipped. So where did we use it? what was the derivative what we take? Finally, we are taking this term, isn't it? This particular term. So let
Yes,
me
ma'am.
just see.
It had to be alpha
Yeah.
into 1 by n into the value,
Into,
the error j theta.
yeah, here you're saying, no?
Yes, ma'am.
The
Alpha
current
in
weight plus
alpha
alpha, there we should have had 1 by n, but we
1
didn't
by n.
use it.
No, ma'am, we didn't use it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I think then we have not done it. But that is the reason why we have it, but why we have not used, I'm also not sure. So when you tried, like you were telling me the answers that day, right, for this particular problem, you're getting the same answer. So without using 1 by n, that's what you're saying.
No, ma'am. With while trying only, we'd never used 1 by n, ma'am.
1 by
While
n.
trying, yes, ma'am.
But still you
Others
were getting the same answers what you were getting here.
given here, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So they also would have skipped. It's okay, it may not contribute much. It is just the average, like it doesn't contribute much on that part, but the actual formula is this. So I think it is because of two different textbooks. This 1 by n is not used when we are, hope others also understand what we are talking about. This 1 by n is not used when we were calculating in that problem, but it was there. And why? That was our discussion. So the reason being to just cancel that squares derivative when we take, and then n is just average. I think in some books they are not following that. I'll just check. Oh, that was your question. I thought you were asking why 2. Okay. I'll just check that also.
Yes.
So here why they have not used, I didn't notice. So I thought it is used. So since you calculated, I think you understood that it is not used. I'll just see. Okay. So it is because that formula what I started off with is not from the same book. So maybe they have followed it in a different way. Anyways, so it is just anyway the average. Okay. So whether it is compulsory or it is just a variation of not using and using, both are fine. So that way I'll just find out whether we have to always use it or not. Okay. So otherwise you understood why too, no? Like it's not having like major significance and all. Just for mathematical simplicity, they have used it. So this was our gradient descent approach. Okay, where we solved one problem, how to calculate, and then we even talked about the alpha when we say the alpha, the learning rate. Okay, so that is our initially in this problem it was given. So there is no specific rule that we have to choose a particular value, etc. Based on the learning experience what people have made, it's usually mentioned that learning rate between this range would be giving a better good model. Similarly, initial weights also, we don't have a specific theory or rule based on which we can tell that always when you choose minus 0.2 to 0.2, you always get a better good model. Not like that. But usually when you choose something like this as your initial weight, because randomly you're choosing something in your questions, theoretically you might get a value for solving. But then say, for example, in your lab, when you're going to try, what are the initial weights what you try? So you can try with something between these. And also they mentioned that it is always not compulsory that I have, yeah, okay, started the recording, right? Yeah. So it is not compulsory that you are always choosing like this. Some people even try with different values and then come to a conclusion. So that is also possible. So just roughly they have told this is the usual kind of values people choose, so that we get we kind of converge after some steps. Okay. So the previous sum what we did final. Oh, okay. The homework, did you all try? I forgot. The second part, could you all try? How many tried? I think Vishnu tried. Did you try, Vishnu? The second iteration?
Yes, ma'am. That's when I got the doubt.
Yeah. What about others? Anyone tried? Not even tried. You can even try just copy pasting in your Excel and then just click and drag also would work, isn't it? You don't have to sit and type all the formulas. Just type the formula in Excel, just use it everywhere, all the cells. That would be sufficient for your calculation. I just wanted you to know how you're calculating because it might come for the test, that's all. Okay, anyways. So hope you remember it was W naught is your error. Then you have error delta calculation where you are multiplying it with that particular instance x1 value. Then for the second one, error into x2 value, and here error into x3 value, and so on. So finally you get error delta sum. So this is used, okay, and then updated. So previously, if you see this example, 3185, which was sigma for d error delta of d comma w0 was used in this. Now for the next iteration, how you would write is previous value of w of 0, that is minus 0.146 plus your learning rate into, that is 0.00002 into this particular value 2884.32. So this is how you keep on updating, and when the difference is within some range, we stop. Okay, so or it might be like 100 epoch, you try, etc. Okay, so you keep updating your weights, and finally you reach a stable state or with a minimal difference. There you stop, and then that is your final model. Now, when you get a new sample, you try to predict using that. Okay, so that was your gradient descent, and then yeah. So next, what about handling category descriptive features? So you might have say something like this. Okay. So whenever machine learning, when we say something, no, it may not be like just one case. So when I say category can be handled this way, it is not compulsory that always it is done like that. Maybe there are variation of approaches which has come recently also. Okay. So I am just discussing one basic approach which can have different other variations also. So now let us see what happens if you have only like you have categoric values also for a particular regression model. Your final output, what you're going to predict is continuous. So problem is regression problem, but you have one categoric value here. Okay, one feature which is categoric. So ABC, energy rating is ABC. Now what to be done? Okay, so that is what, when you have say descriptive features or when you have categoric features, you can, one approach is you create for each level, you create a separate column. So in this case, energy rating A, B, C were 3 levels. Okay, so previously if you see A, B, C are 3 different levels or values. So those 3 become separate columns, and wherever in the instances you had, so say for example the first instance, okay, previous data, if you see in the first instance, the rating was C. So now what happens? Only in the rating C you put a 1, rest all would be 0. Similarly, for the second instance, if you can see, the rating was actually A. Now if you can see, the rating for A alone, it is 1, the rest is put as 0, like this. So what you're doing is how many values for that categoric attribute. So that many columns you create, and whichever was present in that particular instance, there alone you put 1, rest all would become 0. Okay. So this is one approach. So how would be your equation of that regression model would be? So previously we were writing, so if it was this, we would have written W naught, okay, plus W1 size, plus W2 floor, plus W3 broadband, W4 energy rating. This is how you would have written, okay. So now when we convert it, what you would do is W naught plus W1 into size, plus W2 into floor, plus W3 into broadband rate, plus W4 into each of these into different weights, okay. So this would be our updated model. So this is the way, one way how we can handle categoric values. Did you understand, or you want me to explain it once more? The question is, output is still continuous. The attribute, one of the attribute, if it is categoric, how to deal with it when you find the model, regression model. Okay. Okay. So this is how we would be doing it. So now, this actually has to be previously there. So when you have, say, we were talking about learning rate, isn't it, in this gradient descent method? So there, when you have the alpha, initially when we choose, if it is too small, what happens is each time when you iterate it, it's the like it will be moving like this. If you can see this part, the dots, that is like, since you have chosen alpha is small, very, very small, the next iteration is very close to that. The next iteration is very close to that. So by the time it reaches this place, this is your minimum, isn't it? So from here, if you start, you're reaching here. So if the convergence would be very, very slow, because alpha is your learning rate or the change in weights. Okay, that updation contribution. So if that learning is so slow, like you can even convert, I mean, think of the analogy or real life situation, the alpha is too small, which is the learning rate is too small. Slowly only you would attain your final aim. Okay, so same way, slow convergence is the issue when you have a very small alpha. And if it is very large, so what would happen? So what happens is, say if it starts, it might actually jump to different places, and we might miss out the minimum part. Okay, so because it is very, like, say for example, the starting point was this. Okay, you can see my mouse pointer, right? You're able to?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is the starting point. Okay, so when we start from here, since your alpha was very high, so it's the next iteration it went to here. Okay, so what happens, it jumps like this, and we never come to our aim was actually minimize the j theta, but it never reached here because it got skipped. Okay, so that is also a possibility. So then it might finally not converge. Okay, so because you are actually going and then it is too much, like actually it is increasing now, not decreasing. So this might happen if it is too large. It might happen like it is too small. So anyway, you are not actually trying to manually solve, etc. You usually try to use algorithms which is computationally solved. So what you do is, you try putting different values, a reasonably good value, not very high, not very low. So then when if you understand that in the next iteration it is going too high, then you have to bring down your alpha, something of that sort. So accordingly, you have to choose alpha. That is what they are saying. So what would be the issue if you choose it too small or if it is too large? Okay. Okay. So next is actually logistic regression. Okay, so since we have talked about linear regression, we are just bringing up logistic regression. So do you know any difference between this linear regression and logistic regression, if anyone has used or come across logistic regression? Where do we use it in regression problems or classification problem? Or maybe I'll put it this way, can we use logistic regression as a classifier? Can we
Yes,
use?
ma'am.
Yes. So usually regression means it is for continuous values, isn't it? But logistic regression is still like a regression model, but your final output would be a binary value, so kind of 0, 1, etc. So that is a variation in your regression. So we use it for classification. Okay. So this is your logistic function, if you can see. Just a second. Yeah. So this is the logistic function, 1 by 1 plus e minus x. E is the Euler number. I think this function you would be familiar with. So for what we do is, for the regression model, whatever linear regression model we had, that output would be modeled, I mean, the threshold would be, we threshold the output of the linear regression model. So let us see what we are going to do. So previously, if you remember, how did we write the model, h theta, or in the sense the output or the model, how do you write? We write it as W0 plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2 plus W3 x3 and so on. So can we tell that W and x are two vectors? We can even tell W dot x. That is also possible, isn't it? So when we say that is like a dot product. So previously we were just doing that, okay, when it was linear regression. Now we are telling logistic function of W dot D. Okay. So what is that? So previously for the linear function, regression function, we were just doing the dot product of the weights and the descriptive features, which are the x. Okay. Now we are passing it through a logistic function. So what is that? So let us just a second, my mouse. Okay. So what is this? The logistic of W dot T. That is, we know that we understand that our logistic function means 1 by this MWD and all, don't worry. This is your model. Okay. With the weights W and D is your data. Okay. So W is the weight, D is the data. This is your output. What you're going to predict, the model, what you're going to build. Okay. So when we say 1 by 1, so logistic of W dot D. So what we do is, previously for linear regression, we were just writing W0 plus W1 D1 plus W2 D2, etc. Here we write 1 by 1 plus E to the power of minus, then that particular term, that is W1 D1 plus W2 D2 and so on. So that is how our, this was the, what is that, output calculation of the model for linear regression, now which is passed through a logistic function. So the output always from the logistic function would be from the range 0 to 1, and we keep a threshold of 0.5. So we say above 0.5 everything is particular class, and below is another class. So there is kind of two class problem, like we can solve that using our logistic regression. Okay, so only difference, previously we have done what is that, our linear regression gradient descent rule. Okay, it is the same, that weight updation, only there is a difference, but otherwise it is same. Okay, so what is the difference? So did I miss something? Okay, so alpha into, this is our actual minus what is that, model. So yi minus what is that, predicted yi, the same thing, into the model. So that is previously it was I think how did we write previously for the linear regression? How did we write? Let us just see that formula here. I think there we mentioned theta. Yeah, here. So if it is W1 x1, so we can even write here it was h theta of x minus y. Okay. Or we even mentioned here it as, so like this, error delta into this. Okay, here it is this way. So same way here also, when we do it, there is some other terms coming into picture. So 1 minus mw of di, where mw is this. So that is 1 plus 1 by e minus e power minus w dot t into, this is our xj. Previously also this was there. Okay, so this term, this particular term mw into 1 minus mw is there. Other than that, it is similar. Okay, so this is how we are. So of course, like Vishnu said, we don't have a 1 by n coming here. Okay, so we'll see that whether to use or not when we are doing it, and whenever, like whether it is okay to skip that, I'll tell. But otherwise, if you see alpha, the learning rate, okay, the previous weight is updated as the new weight would be previous weight plus the learning rate into sigma ti minus the model, that is your h theta or your predicted y. So that is your model of di. D is the data. Okay. So what we were writing it as w1 x1 w2 x2, the same thing. Now it is, but it is, instead of directly writing w1 x1 plus w2 x2 etc., we have it through a function. So that is 1 by 1 plus e power minus w1 w0 plus w1 x1 plus w2 x2 and so on, whatever. So that is our this function. So into that function, into 1 minus that function, into this particular term was previously also there, xj, we had written it there. So there is a slight change how we do this updation of weights, but other than that, the steps remain same. Only thing is, previously we were writing w1 x1 w2 x2 for that h theta x or your predicted y, whereas here now we have to use this. That's the only difference. So and the updation of the weights. Okay, but otherwise, how you did in gradient descent for linear regression, it is the same. Okay, only the weight update rule and the your hypothesis is changed, or your model is little different. But other than that, the steps are same. Your calculation of error delta, you have to calculate error, then you have to calculate error delta dW. Same way, dW0, dW0, dW1, dW2, etc. corresponding to the weights, and then that updation. So previous updation, what we were writing, the formula is different. That's all. That is the only difference. And previously we were just calculating the model as, how do you calculate the error? You were predicting the y and then finding the error. So for predicting the y, you were doing W0 plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2. There we will substitute the x1 x2 values for each instance. Here also we will do that, but your x1 x2 x3 will be substituted here. Your W0, W1, etc. also would be substituted here. Okay. That is actually a function of logistic. I mean, it is actually passed through a logistic function. So that is the main difference. So why we are doing is this? Because the final output would become arranged to 0 to 1, and then we can keep a threshold which is 0.5, and we can say that above this is one class, below this is another class, class 0 and class 1, and it becomes a binary classification problem. Okay, so this is mainly what I have to tell. So that's all about regression, what we would be covering. Okay, so we have few more minutes left. Actually, next is a new topic. Okay, which we will discuss in the coming class. It's not continuation of this. That's why we are not starting with that. Anything what you would like to see, whenever we have this homework problems and all, try to solve. My only intention is you should know the steps, because we are not discussing it physically, I am just showing it on the slides and I am talking, but then we are not I am not solving it on board. So that is the only intention why I always ask you to try solving it. Otherwise you may not know how to solve it, and you may get such questions for your test. So please do that on your own.